Let's go to political parties and the party list system. So, what is a political party? A political party is an organized group of persons pursuing the same ideology, political ideas, or platforms of government, and includes its branches and its divisions. So, this is the definition under the Omnibus Election Code. Um, the party list system, on the other hand, is provided for under the Constitution. It says that the House of Representatives shall be composed of those who, as provided by law, shall be elected through a party list system of registered national, regional, and sectoral parties or organizations. So, um, on the matter of running for office, no, on the matter of political parties, kindly refer to the lecture on Constitutional Law 1. Okay. On the matter of the candidacy no, of and the filing thereof, no, this is rooted in the constitutional provision that the state shall guarantee equal access to opportunities for public service and prohibit political dynasties as may be provided or defined by law. So anybody can run for office. Anybody can run for office if you are qualified. But again, there is the system of disqualification by way of being a nuisance candidate. If you remember this case of Pamatong versus Comelec in Constitutional Law 1, saying that the equal access provision of the Constitution is not self-executing anyway, as not self-executing as the uh, prescription against the political dynasties. So qualifications for candidacy, they should be again considered as continuing requirements. The same in our earlier discussion on public officers. No, they are continuing requirements and must be possessed not only at the time of the election to office but also during the officer's entire tenure. Once any of the required qualification is lost, his title may be seasonably challenged. So the elected official's qualification must remain with him. Um, for example, if you change your domicile during your term of office, then that could be deemed to be a challenge, which may be posed against the public officer. Or if you change your citizenship, you may be your position, your occupancy to the position may be challenged in a way. The fact that a person is registered as a voter in one district is not proof that he is not domiciled in another district. The registration of a voter in a place other than his residence of origin is not sufficient to consider him to have abandoned his residence. A qualification matter no, of candidates no, for office. No. Another case is on the case of Torayna versus Comelec, saying ito yung residency ng isang candidate no, the residence requirement is rooted in the desire that officials or of localities be acquainted not only with the metes and bounds of their constituencies but also with with their constituents themselves, their needs, difficulties, aspirations, potentials for growth and development, and all matters vital to their common welfare. So that the requisite period would give the candidates the opportunity to be familiar with their desired constituency. So it's more of familiarity. That's why there is the residency requirement. No? Another case is the case of Bengson versus HRET. You have this in the case of citizenship. No? When a person who has lost his citizenship is repatriated from his original natural born, he loses his citizenship, but he is repatriated. He is restored his original status as natural born. Disqualifications under the Omnibus Election Code, if you have been declared by competent authority as insane or incompetent, you are disqualified from being a candidate. If you have been sentenced by final judgment for subversion, insurrection, rebellion, or for any offenses for which you have been sentenced to a penalty of more than 18 months or for a crime involving moral turpitude. Well, by the way, when you speak of the qualifications as well, no, the qualifications, you have to remember, go back to your um, specific laws on the qualifications of certain public elected officials. No, so I am thinking that it's really required of you at this point to know the qualifications for president and the vice, senators, the members of the House of Reps, even the local officials memorize their qualifications. Okay? So the disqualifications under the local government code are numerous, no? Sentenced by final judgment of an offense involving moral turpitude or punishable by 1 year. Removed from office as a result of an admin case. Those convicted by final judgment of the violation of the oath of the allegiance of the republic, those with dual citizenship, but here it is dual allegiance. Okay, remember that it's dual allegiance. Fugitive from justice in a criminal or non-political cases here or abroad. So if you're a fugitive from justice, you are disqualified. Huh? Permanent residence in a foreign country. Um, those insane or feeble-minded. So again, this case, no, on the matter of dual allegiance, no, what is inimical to the interest of the nation is dual allegiance, not dual citizenship, because dual citizenship may be involuntary. Read this case of Mercado versus Manzano. If you are also, again, if you're a fugitive from justice, you are disqualified from running for office. The term fugitive from justice refers not only to those who flee after conviction to avoid punishment, but also those who have been charged. And after you have been charged, you flee to avoid prosecution. You are a fugitive from justice. The certificate of candidacy of candidates, no? Anybody can file their certificates of candidacy. Um, anyway, this filing of the certificate of candidacy is a requirement before you can run for office. No person shall be eligible for any elective post unless you have filed your sworn certificate of candidacy within the period fixed by law. Bakit sworn? Because it is a challenge to perjury. Okay? So, specific points that you have to remember that okay, no person shall be eligible for more than one office to be filled in the same election. Okay, so you cannot be eligible for two offices if you file for two um, certificates of candidacy. You cannot be qualified. Remember, for two offices, you cannot be qualified for office for more than one. Isang office lang talaga. Okay? Okay. So he shall not be eligible for any of them if you have filed for if you file for two or more, you are not eligible for all of them. No? However, before the expiration of the period of the filing of the certificate of candidacy, the person who have filed more than one certificate of candidacy may declare under oath for which he desires to be eligible and cancel the certificate of candidacy for other offices. No, kung ikaw ay maraming final na COC, you can cancel one and be qualified for other, but it has to be a sworn declaration. No? The filing or withdrawal of a certificate of candidacy shall not affect whatever civil, criminal, or admin liabilities which the candidate may have incurred. For example, ito yung norm dati na if you have been elected to office, you are deemed to have been pardoned. No. If you have filed um, if you have filed, then you are deemed to have continued your liability. No. When filed, there's a limit to the filing. No, not later than the day before the date legally fixed for the beginning of the campaign period. Okay. COC filed beyond the deadline is void. Okay. So what is the campaign period? For national candidates, 90 days prior to the election. No? And for local candidates, 45 days from the election. So not later than the date legally fixed for the beginning of the campaign period. No? So the campaign period. No? Not the day of the election. No? Ang basehan. It's um, the campaign period, not the day of the election, which is the reckoning point. No? So you file your COC not later than the day before the date legally fixed for the beginning of the campaign period. Okay, that's why um, you don't confuse this with the election, with the with the day of the election. It's the campaign period, which is the reckoning point here. A candidate shall use in his certificate of candidacy his name, no, his legal name, no, as a general rule. These are the rules. The name which has been baptized, or if he has not been baptized in any church or religion, the name registered in the LCR, or any other name allowed under the provisions of existing laws. Or if he is a Muslim, his Hajj name after performing the prescribed religious pilgrimage. When there are two or more candidates for office with the same names and surname, each candidate, upon being made aware of such similarity, no, shall state his paternal and maternal surname, except that the incumbent who may continue to use such name and surname stated in his certificate of candidacy for when he was elected. So it's the favor, the equity in favor of the incumbent, no. So yung mga kandidato, you have to follow the requirements, no. So the incumbent may retain his original registered name. He may also include any nickname or stage name by which he is generally or popularly known in the locality. So bloggers may continue this, Diwata, or whatever name you have if you really want to run for office. The place of filing of the COC is specific in the law, no? For the president and the vice and the senators, the main office of the COMELEC in Manila. For the district reps, provincial election supervisor of the province, or the provincial offices with the provincial supervisor, with the city or municipal offices with the city or municipal election registrar concerned. The COMELEC has no right to deny the COC. Kaya ang daming nagpa-file ng COC. Remember si Rastaman, may file. That's the COMELEC's duty to receive, but it's also without prejudice to them being disqualified later or being considered as nuisance candidates later. But on the day of the filing of the COC, the COMELEC has the duty to receive, no? So if you're incumbent, if you file your COC, if you're an elective officer, you're not deemed resigned, no? But if you're an appointive officer, resignation is called for, no? Because elective officers have the sworn duty, they owe it to the electorate to finish their term. But the appointive officers do not have such a mandate. Okay? They do not receive their mandate from the electorate, but from the appointing authority. Okay? Elective officials are qualified to participate in partisan politics, but not appointive officials disqualified from partisan political activities. Okay? So if you withdraw your certificate of candidacy, what happens and what is the requirement? That's the COC of the President Digong when he intentionally intended to run as senator during the last election. A person who has filed a certificate of candidacy may, prior to the election, withdraw the same by submitting to the office concerned a written declaration under oath. Okay, that's essential also because it has an effect on the substitution of candidates, no? So if after the day of the filing of the certificate of candidacy, an official candidate withdraws or is disqualified, only a person belonging to but the same party may file a certificate of candidacy as a substitute, no? What if the withdrawal was not sworn? In nanalo yung substitute, it will not defeat the will of the electorate. In the case of Villanueva versus COMELEC, disqualifications of the candidate, no? If you have who filed the certificate of COC, if you violated the election law, or if you are considered as a nuisance candidate, or if there are material representations in the COC, you may be disqualified. No? So nuisance candidate, you know that very well. The commission may motu proprio or upon a verified petition of an interested party refuse to give due course to or cancel their COC if it is shown that the said certificate has been filed to put the election process in mockery or disrepute or to cause the confusion of voters by the similarity of the names of the registered candidates or by the other circumstances or acts which clearly demonstrate that the candidate has no bona fide intent to run for office for which the certificate of candidacy has been filed. So that's the reason why there are so many COCs filed, but there are some who are really excluded, no, as nuisance candidates already. So sana COMELEC will do well its function in case there are people who will run for office and make a mockery of the election process. No? If there is a material representation in the COC, not merely typographical error, a verified petition seeking to nullify or seeking to deny due course or cancel the COC may be filed. What's the procedure? You file a petition personally or through your representative with the Commission on Election by the candidate for the same office 5 days from the day of the filing of the COC. Okay. Petitions for disqualifications are subject to summary hearings. What's the effect of a disqualification case? Any candidate who has been declared by final judgment to be disqualified shall not be voted for. Meaning this is prior to the election. So hindi siya pwedeng iboto, no? If for any reason the candidate is not declared by final judgment and then election happens, no, and he is voted for and receives the winning number of votes even in the election, the court or commission shall continue with the trial and hearing of the action, inquiry or protest, and upon motion of the complainant or any of the intervener may during the pendency thereof order the suspension of the proclamation of such candidate whenever the evidence of his guilt is strong. What about if there's only one candidate, no? Upon the expiration of the deadline for the filing of the certificates of candidacy in a special election called to fill a vacancy in an elective position other than the president and the vice, okay? When there is only one qualified candidate for such position, the lone candidate shall be proclaimed elected to the position by the proper proclaiming body of the COMELEC, okay? Without holding the special election upon a certification by the latter that the he is only the candidate, no, okay, he's the only lone candidate, no. Let's go to campaign and election propaganda on the next video.